Hi, I'm Gretchen Spiker with the City of Topeka.
And I'm India Yarborough with the Greater Topeka Partnership.
The Topeka Talk podcast is back for season 2 for more meaningful community conversations.
We've got a great lineup in store, and we're excited to have you along for the ride this season.
And just like that, we're back for the second episode of season 2.
We appreciate you guys listening and have an exciting show in store for you, featuring 2 very special guests from the Topeka Zoo.
With us in the recording studio are Wrylie Guffey and Shanna Simpson, both animal curators at the Topeka Zoo. Wrylie and Shanna are here to chat with us about the latest developments at the zoo, including a brand new exhibit opening this month.
We're eager to hear all about that new exhibit and excited to learn more about the zoo and what the future may have in store for this local attraction. So without further ado, Shanna, Wrylie, welcome to the Topeka Talk podcast.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
This is awesome.
So before we dive into the details of this new exhibit, which is opening March 10th, I'd love to learn more about what you both do at the zoo. So could you just generally explain to us what an animal curator does? And are the two of you responsible for different types of animals or different parts of the zoo? How does that work?
Sure. So Wrylie and I are on the same level. Basically, we're coworkers and we work together to make sure that the animal care department is, thriving and taken care of, and that the zookeepers are doing their job and that the animals are happy, healthy, and thriving. So we basically split the zoo in half. I am over half the zoo and Wrylie is over the other half. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. Just running the animal care department.
What
Pretty
types
much
of
it.
animals are each of you over?
Okay, so my animals are the carnivores. So tigers, lions, painted dogs, cougars, river otters, bears. I am also over the orangutans and the education animals. I am also over the commissary, which is responsible for all the food for the entire zoo for all the animals. So I'm over that department as well. And I feel like I'm missing one.
Yeah, and Wrylie, what do you have?
Adventure Trail.
Venture Trail.
Yeah, which is the Children's Zoo Barn and the Lower Key Aviary.
Yeah, and I oversee the teams that do elephants, hippo, giraffe, porcupine, lemur, and then the whole new Giraffe and Friends exhibit, which we'll talk about.
And the rainforest.
Yes, we
And the
will.
rainforest.
I can't believe you forgot the
I'm
rainforest. That's your
sorry.
favorite.
It's one of my favorites.
It's probably hard to remember all
It
of the
is.
animals, but
And on the spot.
yes.
Right. That's a lot of animals to keep up
It
with.
is.
But Wrylie, you segued perfectly into what we do want to talk about today, which is the new Giraffe and Friends exhibit. Like Gretchen said, opening March 10th. And we understand, it's going to be the largest habitat in the zoo's history, which is pretty exciting. It's an $8.3 million expansion spanning 3.5 acres, and it's designed to really interact with the safari-themed Camp Cowabunga, which opened in 2018. So that's pretty cool. But I know that really just scratches the surface, right? That's just the numbers, the big picture pieces of what this exhibit is all about. So could you two tell us a little bit more about Giraffe and Friends and what visitors can expect from that new experience?
Yeah, so the neatest thing about it is that it's going to be a mixed species exhibit where guests will get to come in and see several different species together in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our reticulated giraffes, which are the tallest land mammal. We have Sarge, Hope, and Liz. And then we have their new friends. So we have an ostrich named Karen.
Stop. I feel like we need a moment for Karen.
For sure.
This is the best.
She'll have lots of moments. We have 2 Thompson's gazelles. We call them Tommies. Their names are Haraka and Savo. And then we have a new Bontabak, which you've probably seen photos of on Facebook here recently. His name is Monty. And we're doing a neat thing we can talk about with reading to him. So that's kind of fun.
Oh,
But
It sounds weird, but it makes sense.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not to interrupt Wrylie, but
okay.
these animals are brand new to our zoo. So that transition, that's part of our job, and the zookeeper's job is to make sure that transition is smooth, because it obviously can be a little bit stressful for these animals. So we just want to make sure that they're getting used to our routine, our keepers, our, everything from our food to the way we clean, the way we talk, the way we move, how many of us are in there at a time. So what the Hoofstock staff has been doing in the new giraffe area is they've been going in and reading to these animals just so they can hear our voices and see us and just basically be desensitized to them. It's cool.
And when we're sitting and reading, we're not making big movements.
Mm.
So when we're talking human to human, I'm talking right now with my hands. I mean, you don't do that naturally when you have your hands on a book and
Yeah.
reading.
Right. Yeah. Everyone gets a bedtime around here.
Yeah.
Bedtime story.
So I'm really interested about this fact of being a multi-animal experience and exhibit. It seems so unique in my thought process of what we typically see in a zoo. So is that kind of assessment accurate? And is this intended to better kind of grasp and demonstrate what animals would experience in the wild? Is that the philosophy?
Yeah, so on the plains in Africa, you would see multiple different herds come in together. They might be sharing the same watering hole at the same time. They may not be touching each other, but they're hanging out in the same space. One of the challenges we have in zoos is just space
Yeah.
and having enough space. And when you can have different species in the same space, you can have a few more species, and it's okay for their welfare to do so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned lots of different animals, right, that are going to live together in this new exhibit. Will there be any sort of interactive components, where the visitors may be able to feed a giraffe or something like that? What does that look like?
Yes, we have two different feeding stations. One's inside and one's outside. So whether the giraffe are inside or outside, you can still participate in the feeding aspect.
Okay.
And the giraffe, they're doing great.
That's
We weren't
awesome.
quite sure how well they would become accustomed to it so quickly in the new space, but they're doing really well.
Very cool. So after March 10th, you will be able to feed giraffes at the Topeka Zoo.
Yeah.
Inside
cool.
and outside.
Inside
You've
and
got
outside.
options. So with Giraffe and Friends, what excites each of you the most about this new habitat? Sounds like there's so much to be
Yeah.
excited about. It's hard to kind of summarize, but if you had to just pick.
Go ahead, Wrylie. Sorry.
We also have two lesser kudu coming in. I forgot to mention them. And they are really cute. And
Super
have
cute.
giant
What are
ears. They're another type of hoofstock.
Okay.
The antelope deer family.
Got it. Got
Yeah,
it.
hooves.
I think
That's-
sorry.
No, go ahead. I know. I'm so sorry. We've got so much to say. No, go ahead.
Say it.
Your favorite. What are you excited about, Wrylie?
I think we have hoofstock at the zoo currently, but it's going to be our first exhibit with like true hoofstock almost completely.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think the opening of Camp Cowabunga, which was, I mean, if you've been to that exhibit, it is state of the art. Like, it literally looks like you walked into San Diego Zoo or you walked into Omaha, these iconic exhibits. I just love Camp Cowabunga. And for me, the giraffe exhibit really completes that. If you're walking, out of Camp Cowabunga towards giraffe, or if you're walking from our orangutan space towards the new giraffe, it just starts this safari experience, or it ends it if you're coming out of Camp Cowabunga. So for me, it's just, you've got African painted dogs, you've got African lions, you've got the Patis monkeys, and then you've got giraffes and Bontebok and, and lesser kudu and the Tommy gazelles. And so it's just going to be this just iconic African safari that, you can't get unless you go to Africa,
Mhm.
and how many people get to go to Africa. So it's just going to be like this amazing little African safari right here in Topeka, Kansas.
From the
That's
Ross family
Incredible.
pavilion, I think you have a 180-degree view
Wow.
of this new
Yeah.
space.
Wow.
It's going to be breathtathing. We're so excited.
I'm
That's
getting
pretty
so
incredible.
excited.
I
I'm like,
know.
can March 10th be here like now?
Right around the corner. for
Yeah,
real.
it really is.
It's right around the corner. We're so excited. Well, and I recently learned through Visit Topeka that the Topeka Zoo is actually the city's top paid attraction, which I thought was really interesting. Kind of two parts to this question. I'm wondering if you can give us an idea of what the zoo's typical traffic looks like. How many visitors you guys have coming through the door, and then building off of that, how might this new exhibit kind of impact your numbers and help the zoo grow its attendance?
Yeah, obviously Wrylie and I are huge believers in zoos in general. They're such an asset to communities. They're so important to help educate the public about animal conservation and habitat destruction that's going on in the wild. Not only that, but, they get kids off their phones, off the screens. They're running around the zoo. They're learning about animals. You're outside. It's just such an asset to this community. So I know that the Topeka Zoo, we typically see over 200,000 guests a year. And I know that number has been climbing every year for the past about 6 or 7 years. I think it's been climbing every year. Our guest numbers are just through the roof. They're just increasing like crazy, and I also know that there's something like 60% of our guests are from outside Shawnee County. So people are coming to Topeka to go to the Topeka Zoo. And while they're here, they're going to our restaurants, they're going to our mall, they're going to all the shops. And so
staying in our hotels.
They're staying in our hotels.
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
You know, they're going, you know, to the Brown versus Brown board, you know, or Brown versus board. And so it's just, I just love what zoos do for communities, and the Topeka Zoo is no different. If not, it's just so iconic in this community. So
Anything to add, Wrylie?
No, that was great.
thank you.
Awesome.
I just love our zoo.
So kind of on that Giraffe and Friends theme still, you know, Giraffe and Friends follows other recent investments like we've talked about. The creation of K. McFarland Japanese Garden, which opened in 2020, also insanely beautiful and state of the art. And we understand that there could be even more on the horizon for the zoo. It's like you guys are just keeping going, especially with the passage last year of a local 0.2% sales tax benefiting Gage Park, which of course is where the zoo is located. So could you just shed some light on how the zoo may be looking to use its portion of that funding in the years to come?
Yeah, so our biggest thing is just to increase growth of the zoo. Our growth has just shot up over the past few years. If you could see all the insides, how everything works, you'd just be amazed at how much we've improved our efficiency, how much we've grown. We've opened new exhibits. We're looking to open more new exhibits, redoing other old habitats that we have that need a little bit of a revamp, increasing our staff numbers. It's always nice to have more people around to help with the work, and increasing our programs altogether.
Yeah, just and also on top of that, outreach to the community, you know, is obviously a big priority. Education programs, camps, you know, we go to schools, we go to the library. Our tentacles, if you will, reach so far around the community. So that tax that passed was, not only was it's wonderful to know that we have our financial future a little bit more secure, but it's also even better, in my opinion, to know that the community supports us. They voted yes to give a small portion of their hard-earned money to the zoo, and they trust that Gage Park and that the zoo is gonna, you know, do good things with that money. So it's amazing. And Gage Park is just phenomenal. I know I'm not from Topeka. I'm an implant from New Mexico. And when I moved here, I had a 3-year-old daughter at the time, and I just hung out at Gage Park all the time. That's all I did every day in nice weather. Gage Park. Yeah, you go to the pool, you go to the train, you go to the museum, you go to the zoo. And so Gage Park it's amazing. So I'm so glad that we're able to invest in it. It's a really cool place to be in Topeka.
Absolutely. Well, and to your point about, the community really supporting that initiative. It sounds like they see the value in what you guys offer to the community, but like you said, to residents outside of Shawnee County, just in bringing them to our city, to our community to explore Topeka for themselves. So
exactly.
That's pretty awesome. And it sounds like some of the funding in the years to come is really just going to keep the zoo on its growth trajectory. Camp Cowabunga 2018, K. McFarland in 2020, Giraffe and Friends in 2023. Full speed ahead for the
we really are.
It's exciting.
It is very exciting. So obviously Wrylie and I's main priority is animal welfare, and just to make sure that the animals have the best possible environment that they can have, and that we're providing the best possible care. So that's our focus. And so the new Giraffe and Friends will be no different.
That's awesome. Well, circling back to your role as animal curators, there have been some pretty cute and cool animals that have kind of been embraced by the public and, show up on social media and in news stories and all that good stuff. So I did want to check in and ask about a couple of those.
Sure. The famous residents of the Topeka Zoo.
Right. I know the baby orangutan, and I hope I say it right. Udara. I know she's a favorite.
Yes.
Adult female lion Zuri, who's growing a mane, has been a
making all the headlines.
Yes. NPR even.
For real. She's all over.
Yeah. Well, do you have any updates on those two furry friends for us?
Udara is she's coming off of her mom now and just starting to explore and play with her older brother now, and her hair is insane.
Really?
She
is it fluffy? How would you describe it?
Floof, the top of her head is so floofy and huge, and it is amazing. She's the third baby orangutan that we have had here at the Topeka Zoo in the the recent history, and she's the hairiest. She's so hairy,
so
and
funny.
they've got those big eyes, and she's got that crazy hair. Just seriously, the cutest thing. I think she's probably the cutest baby we've ever had.
She's
And
like the
man.
Topeka Zoo's little sister.
I
Like,
mean,
she's just out there.
She's just so
Right.
quirky, and it's just so great. She's so adorable, but she's doing great. You know,
That's awesome.
really starting to explore and grow.
Mhm.
And then Miss Zuri, our female African lion that, you know, our male passed away, 2020, in fall of 2020. And a couple months after he passed away, she just started growing a mane, you know, and we think, you know, it has documented to be happened a few times in the world.
Mhm.
Not very many. And Zuri's just one of the few that, you know, we think she's just trying to protect her pride, if you will, and increased her testosterone a bit and grew a mane.
Yes.
So it's very interesting.
I've heard of it called menopause, and I think it's
Oh
funny.
Ah.
That's
gosh.
so funny.
I've never heard that. That's totally what's called.
Someone,
That's the scientific
someone
term.
said to me,
Menopause.
yeah,
Menopause.
who needs a man when you've got a mane, right?
Yes.
I love some of the social media posts we got, or the comments. They were like, well, when I got older, I got more whiskers too. I started growing a mustache too. It was so funny. But yeah, that story blew up.
It really did.
But you know, Zuri, like all jokes aside, Zuri, I mean, she's about to be 19. Her and her sister are
Wow.
about to be 19 in April, which is, I mean, it's like a 95, 100-year-old woman. It is
Mhm.
very old for
Wow.
lions.
Wow.
So I always like to talk about that because, you know, with these great talks about the babies and the births and everything, we do have geriatric animals, and we do pride ourselves
Good one.
on our geriatric animal care. So Zuri is on some meds, you know, for some kidney stuff, and so we're just keeping a close eye on her. She's doing great. We're able to manage her, but obviously time is limited for these older animals. So.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of age, I mean, and just to circle back to Giraffe and Friends,
Yeah.
how old are the 3 giraffes we have here
So-
at the zoo?
Hope is 12,
Okay.
Sarge is 11, and Liz is 5.
Okay. So Liz is the baby then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Still
She's the
looks
baby
pretty
that was
small.
born in 2018.
Yep.
She was
Mhm.
born here. Yeah.
And what's
Yeah.
the typical lifespan for a giraffe?
Depends how you look at it. Males can live into their late teens, early 20s. Females can live into their late 30s, but median life expectancy is more close to late teens.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just curious.
So our
Few
giraffes are, I
animal
mean,
facts.
They're like middle age, like
Yeah.
lower
Yeah.
middle age. They're still in pretty good health and younger.
Okay.
So yeah, as
Very
opposed to
cool.
our grandma lions.
Yeah.
And with all this animal talk, I do have to know,
What's your
what
favorite?
are your
I knew
favorite
it.
animals?
I knew you were going to ask me
Right?
that. That is the hardest question for us to answer, but I know
You can only pick one.
deep down inside,
There
I think
are
we
rules.
all do. No matter. Don't let any zookeeper tell you they don't have a favorite animal. I think they're lying.
I'm going to tell you that.
Are you going
That you don't have a favorite animal?
Okay, you have to pick one. Like you have to.
I can't.
I'll go
Really?
first. How about that?
Okay,
Giraffes.
you go first. You like giraffes?
It's my favorite. We were talking about this a little bit before we were recording,
We
and
were.
I feel like there's a resemblancy a little bit to horses. I
Yeah.
love horses, like the long legs, the
Mhm.
long face, like very kind and gentle, but also kind of like a cat. Like, you know what I mean?
I will say that horses are a lot more coordinated than giraffes.
depends
I
on the
know.
horse.
You don't know. When they
Hope is pretty coordinated.
That's true.
It's
she
amazing.
She can climb rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
She's-
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
She's
she's-
go
Say,
girl.
when you've got that much height, I mean, there's got to be a little wobble, right?
Right. Well, whenever
They're
they
ungraceful.
run, whenever they run, I like my heart rate goes through the roof because I'm like, oh my goodness, don't die.
You're like, I know they run in Africa. Like, this is probably normal.
Can you not run?
But please stop.
So yes.
You need
So
like walking
nerve-wracking.
only signs of the exhibit.
Seriously, I
That's
hate
so
when they
funny.
run. I hate it.
Okay, it's time to pick.
Okay, well, thanks for keeping us
Go
on track,
ahead.
Gretchen.
I know. I mean, if I had to pick, especially at the Topeka Zoo, I'd pick the tigers.
Okay.
The tigers are my favorite. I mean, they're just so fun to work with,
Mhm.
and they're dangerous and
Were there some
deadly.
new tigers introduced?
Yeah, we just
recently?
got two.
Okay.
We just got two new tigers, a male and a female.
Wow.
What are their
So
names?
their names are Nisha and Thomas.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
we're
they're
gonna
from
be
Kansas
breeding.
City.
Thomas is from Kansas City, and
Okay.
Nisha's from Jacksonville Zoo in Florida.
Okay.
So, and they're doing fantastic. They are loving each other through the
Mhm.
fence. So it's very promising that we'll
That's
have babies
awesome.
within a year. I'm hopeful.
Ooh,
That's
all right.
It's a bold statement, but I made it.
The zoo
Here
is
we
growing,
go.
folks.
you heard it here first
You heard
on
it
the
here
Topeka
first.
Talk podcast.
Okay, you.
I
You gotta
can't
do
pick
it.
an animal that's my favorite.
Really, I would say, isn't your favorite like a bird? You love
No.
you do the AZA bird stuff.
So
Okay. She's like, I don't
All right.
like
Okay.
them, but I do.
I like the tarantulas. I like
Yes,
the
you
tigers. I
do.
like the elephants. I
So
like
I
my
guess
dogs
there are
at home.
exceptions to the rule.
I was about to say, we
Okay.
can let Riley off the hook.
That's fine.
Thanks for giving it a shot.
I'm sorry. I won't do it. Can't make me.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I
What
think
about yours?
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah,
say
all right,
I
India,
did.
here we go.
I guess I'll pull a Riley.
Okay.
She goes. Riley goes. Okay.
You know, I actually learned recently that this animal is much more aggressive than it appears, but I think otters are very playful and fun,
Yeah.
and I recently learned that they can have a
Oh, yeah.
mean side.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm like, should I change my answer based
No.
on that?
No. Well, it also
But no, I
depends
do
on
enjoy
which
otters.
kind of otter, because there's
Mm.
several species of otter.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's
I'd
like
have to-
sea
I'd have to
otters and
look.
Asian small
Yeah,
clawed and
look
North
those
American
up.
river
Okay.
otter. Yeah,
They're pretty
I think
cute.
it was a river otter.
river
the-
otters are the one that are native to Kansas.
Oh,
They're
cool.
American.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
the one I
That's
think
what
I
we
saw
have at the
playing at a
zoo.
zoo, and I was like, oh, I'm an otter fan.
They're so.
Well, they must be the nice otters, right? Yeah.
Sure. No, we currently have one otter at the zoo with the potential of we're probably going to get him some friends,
Cool.
some more friends around the zoo. But yeah, his name is Albert, and
Aw.
we actually do go in with him and train him and stuff. So he's pretty sweet. But
Well,
I
I
wouldn't
look
turn my
forward to
back
meeting
on him.
Albert.
So who names the animals?
That's a
Is
great
case
question.
by case. Like
That is a good question.
Sometimes they come with a name.
Yeah, sometimes they come with a name like Nisha and Thomas, our tigers. They came with those names. If we have an animal born at the zoo, we'll auction off their naming rights, to a big donor or something. The public has named names in the past. I know with Liz, we had a huge zoo supporter, the Stratton family, Liz Stratton. So we named her after Liz Stratton. So that's,
Tonza was named by guest at the zoo. They came
Yeah.
in. The zookeepers picked 5 names, I think, or 3.
yeah,
And then everybody that came to the zoo got a ticket and got to put it in for which one they liked the most.
yeah.
Sometimes the zookeepers name the
Yep.
animals too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it just depends.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just depends on the animal and the time and the baby and the age.
All
Yeah.
the different factors.
All the things.
Well, I think that about wraps up our conversation today, but I want to throw it back to you guys. I mean, anything we missed? Any final thoughts for our listeners? Or anything else in your mind that's zoo related?
I always like to tell people that the zoo is not just for children. I feel like I hear that a lot. I have a 16-year-old, and I hear her and her friends are like, no, we're not going to the zoo. That's for kids. It's not.
Mhm.
Like we see so many adults at the zoo. We do have a really large group of adults that come and visit us regularly. So I always like to say there's always something for every single age at the zoo. So I always like to make sure everybody knows that, because I'm sure most of your listeners are adults.
Mhm.
So
That's
make
a
sure
great
you come out
point.
and
Yeah.
see. We have all the adult parties that have alcohol,
That's true.
and stuff like that. And it's really fun. I
Mhm.
mean, for every age.
And I just saw a release come through about Roar and Pour, so
Yeah.
that's coming up. Get your
Segue to
tickets
Roar and
for
Pour.
that.
Get your tickets for Roar and Pour.
A lot of people use their kids as excuses to come to the zoo.
That's
so
true.
here's your official invite. You don't need a kid. Just come
You-
on out.
Don't need a kid. You can be single. Come on out to the zoo. No kids.
I love that.
Well, we have so enjoyed this conversation. It's been a ton of fun. All the laughter. Hopefully our listeners are embracing the giggles today, but it truly was an awesome conversation. So for all things Topeka Zoo, to purchase tickets, you can always visit topekazoo.org. And of course, don't miss the grand opening of Giraffe and Friends on March 10th. So Shanna, Wrylie, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. We hope you'll join us next time.
You can catch new episodes of Topeka Talk Community Conversations the first week of each month.